Hello and welcome to Deliberately Creative. I'm Stephanie, and today we're going to do this really pretty Coleus. I have a hanging basket on my front porch, and it's gone to seed or to flower, and I thought it was just so lovely. And these leaves that are green and red, so pretty. I'm going to use my Daniel Smith palette that I have here. This is from the Tube Colors, and in this palette, I've got Pyrrole Scarlet, Quin Rose, Quinacridone Rose, Hansa Yellow Light, New Gamboge, the French Ultramarine, Phthalo Blue, Sap Green, Sepia, and Quinacridone Sienna. And then the white that I have here is the M Gram Titanium White Gouache. So that's what I've got in this little palette. I want to doodle draw this Coleus, and I'm going to do it on one of these Arteza watercolor cards. They come with really nice envelopes. They are 5x7, basically. It says 6.9, but it's basically 5x7, and 100% cotton. I like that. So what we're going to do is I'm using one of these art panels. I'm just using it as a template to draw a basically 4x4 box lightly. I'm not letting the pen press down hard. That way, see, it's a little bit skippy, and I like that. This is a Coleus, and Coleus have these wonderful, roughly ridged edges. Look at that. You can really see that ruffle. I do have it in a glass jar. I'm just going to do a very basic, sketchy doodle, like a smile, like that, and then come down. And this jar is barely bigger than the opening, so I'm just going to go like this. The bottom edge of this jar matches the angle and the curve of this top one, so of the top edge of the jar. So I'm just going to go like this, and I'm sketching with a Signo Uniball RT1 pen. So see, you don't have to be perfect. Yes, a jar is symmetrical. Yes, it feels better if you can get it symmetrical. I tend to draw a little bit wonky, and that's just kind of part of my style now. But look at that. We've got a jar. Doesn't have to be hard. It's basically a smile and a smile and a smile and a frown, and then lines connecting the sides. I know, I say that like, ooh, really fast, and it's super, super easy. And really, once you get the idea of how it goes together, it is actually pretty easy. I should have left a little bit of room here open for the leaf, but I didn't. There's the stem is down here, and I'm being very sketchy and just letting it kind of go. And I'm going to bring that flower spike like that. Right now it looks like a crazy straw. There's a leaf that's coming up and out of the jar off that stem, and let's see that. I'm going to just make it work with my jar. See how I just sort of curved it up and over? That's pretty cool. And now I left the edge pretty loose and loosey-goosey, so that I could go back in and add these little serrated edges. You're not going to notice or people looking at it aren't going to notice that you've got a little bit of a line there first before you put your serrated edge on. It has a strong vein down the center, and then it has lines coming out. I'm not going to draw in where the color is going. That's just going to get put in afterwards. So we're going to come up, and there's a spot right here. I like that. And the stem is coming off of the stem, and then the leaf, this one here, I'm going to again just sort of bounce it over. Yeah, super fun, super easy. You can do this. Drawing and doodling are one of the things that, you know, I have spent a lot of time practicing, but you know, it's part of the fun for me. This sort of art is actually my absolute favorite. Doing these quick little homemade coloring pages, homemade coloring sheets. This is a card. Now I could do this and leave it with just the pen lines and send it to somebody with a brand new set of watercolors. You know, so say it was a friend that I know that likes to watercolor. I'm just putting another leaf in right here. This one's smaller. See? You can do this. They're blobby shapes. If you've got a wobbly hand, you can do this. You don't have to have perfect lines. I'm going to come up. So yeah, send it to somebody, send them a couple colors of watercolor, and let them play, you know? Or start making a bunch of designs and, you know, make your own, open your own coloring card empire. There it is. Open your own coloring card empire. Look, that one just came out of the box, didn't it? There we go. Now I want to put, there's a couple little leaves just right here on the flower stem, like that. And the flowers on here are very much like a mint. The actual leaves are very, very structured like mint also. The stem is square like mint. So it probably is a member of that family. I'm guessing, I'm not sure. I think I'm going to, I am simplifying my flower. Go down, put a few little highlighty lines on my jar. Makes it feel like there's water in there. There we go. Water always finds its own level, so don't worry about it. Maybe the jar got bumped and the water is sloshing around when you took the picture. Zoom out just a smidge. So up here, I'm going to go the flower leaf, or the flower place, the places where the flowers are. What are the sepals? I'm not sure. I don't know. But they are stacked up. See how they're stacked? So I'm just going to stack them up. And there's like one little one at the top. This is the base of all of those flowers, and they actually go all the way down. And look, doodling. It is just sketchy. And if I want to have any color in on some of those, I will drop that in after I put all my pencil lines on. Okay, I think that's good. I'm going to go ahead and put another leaf right here, and it's just kind of falling down behind there, just like that. Sometimes you go, for balance, I actually need one more leaf. I had 4. I needed 5 to kind of throw it off balance a little bit. There we go. And if that was all I did, it took about 10 minutes to draw this in real time. I think that's pretty awesome. Let's go ahead and put some color on it now. I'm just taking a round faux squirrel brush. I'm going to get the green wet, a little bit of that quinacridone rose, a little bit of the pyrrole scarlet. I'm going to go get some of that yellow, the blue. I think that's good. I want to mix up a little bit of a gray, so I'm going to take some of the French ultramarine and a little touch of sepia and just make a bit of a gray. I'm going to go in. This is just color booking now, so I'm just going to take some of that gray and use it to give me the idea of this sweet little jar. There we go. I am going to put a bit of a shadow underneath, just so it feels like it's sitting someplace. It's not necessarily going to be, you know, a perfect shadow. But look at that. The glass jar. That's done. Doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be the indication. This is a doodle sketch watercolor. Ooh, that's nice and juicy. I want to get a bit of that yellow. There we go. I'm going to go in and just sort of fill around my leaves. I'm leaving the center because I want my red to kind of shine. So I'm just going around the outside. Leave that red in the middle. I'm going to take maybe a little bit of a darker green. That was the sap green with a little bit of Hansa yellow light, and then for the first one, and the second one is the sap green with a little less Hansa yellow light and quite a bit of water. I'm just going to color book it in. Boom. Leaf spots. Some of these leaves, the center is not completely filled with the color. Here, let's see. See how this one right here has little dots? Go for it. Get yourself some little dots in there. The more sunlight your Coleus plant gets, the more varied the colors in the leaves can be. But I am green all the way out to the edge. So pick up a little more yellow. I'm holding back on my brush. I'm not getting down right to the point. Oh, I dropped seeds from my Coleus on here. That's what that little black dot was. Huh. Didn't realize that it had gone to... Well, I guess I did realize it had gone to seed, but, you know. The stem is almost exactly the same color as the leaves. Let's see, I want a little bit darker. I really do like the Daniel Smith colors. I am enjoying this process, and I know I'm going right next to another leaf. And I'm just going to let that flow in if it does, because, you know, it's fun. And then start putting some of that green on my stems. Loose. Not worried about it being perfect, leaving a little bit of room for serendipity to happen. Gotta have serendipity happen here. A little bit darker, right there. And then it's actually kind of dark down inside the jar, but not necessarily as detailed. You know, you're looking through the glass. I do like how these brushes have the very sharp point. Now, I'm going to go up here, and the stem is actually nice and green. Just kind of doing a dashed line, basically. You know, I mean, it's pretty much a dashed line. That little leaf right here is pretty light, and it doesn't have any of the red on it, so I'm going to go like that. And the little places where the flowers were are just, I'm just going tap tap, barely tapping in some color. This you could color with a you could color with markers, you could color with, you know, anything. You could do gouache, you could do acrylic, whatever floats your boat. Crayons, have fun. Just putting a few little veins in. I want to make sure that I get it out to the edge and it gets kind of that fun little ruffle. Doesn't have to be perfect though. Looky, looky. Oh, pretty. I think while I am here, I'm going to go ahead and dry this really quick with my heat it tool. You can just let it sit and dry. I'm going to take a little bit of that green, put just a smidge of that in here and some in the water. Like just a smidge, just a touch, just that itty bitty bit. There we go. I can just let that dry down there. I'm going to grab just a bit of that quinacridone rose and the French ultramarine. And I'm also going to use some of that Winsor Newton gouache. I'm going to mix it into that purple that I made, so I end up with a very pale purple. I'm just going to use the tip of the brush give us the indication of some petals, some little flowers. These are very, very loose, very abstract, but look at that. Oh, wow. Okay, I like it. Now, I'm going to grab some more of that quinacridone, and I'm going to mix it with some of that green that's right here on that quinacridone rose. Mix it with the green, and that's going to give me this really pretty, pretty deep color. And I'm going to go ahead and give it some water. And just dab it in. I want some of those white sparkles to kind of show through. I want to overlap some of that dry green. Oh, oh, that makes me happy. I'm going to grab that over here, do that again, just dab it in. Don't fuss with it too much. Don't worry about following exactly the way your reference is. If you've got a reference leaf in front of you, you can kind of take a peek at these reference leaves as I'm going along. I will post a photo of this up on my Patreon page, so if you're interested in my references, I have a lot of reference photos available to my patrons. So if you're interested in my, my reference photos, but you're welcome to, look at what I've got here on the screen. All I did was add a little bit more green to that quinacridone rose to kind of make that one that's in the background a little bit darker. And maybe give it a little bit more darkness and variety. Just dabbing it in. Again, it does not have to be perfect, and it does not have to match the actual flower or leaf. That's one of the cool things with doing botanical art, pictures of plants. Your plant could look different than my plant, and it's okay. Because we're not doing scientific representation here. We're just doing a fun representation. Let's see. That looks really cool. Maybe a little bit more of the red in that. Quinacridone rose. Touch of water. Loosen it up. A little bit darker towards the back. I am trying to work in more of a loose and expressive style, although you'll find that if you have a pen line down, you will be tighter. Your lines will make it look like you're more constrained with your art. That's okay. That is okay. Oh, so pretty. I'm going to grab a little bit of that green. I had just put a drop of water on each of the colors. I didn't go, totally crazy, but boy, that green really re-wet. I'm just putting a few little drops of the darker green on here. There we go. Just a few here and there. I want to get like a little shadow underneath of those flowers on the stem. And then a little bit of a shadow underneath of the leaves on those stems. A little bit in the water. I think that is really pretty, and I think we are done. So I hope that you enjoyed this quick little doodle sketch of a Coleus with a flower spike in a glass jar. Drew it like a coloring page. We made it just a black and white outline, very sketchy, very doodly, and then filled it in with color. I hope that you enjoyed it. Remember, go out and do something creative. Take care of yourself so you can take care of those around you. And I want to see you back here again really soon. Bye-bye.